Hey YouTube, Heath Bask here. I'm going to try this again. I was going through this little healing journey thing. I don't even know if it was a healing journey. That's just what I call it. But guys, we're going through domestic abuse too. We are. We're going through psychological abuse, narcissistic abuse. We're being subject to reactive abuse, smear campaigns. We're being stalked. Girls that we're with are lying to other partners saying we're abusive, okay? In my past relationships, I'm not going to deny it. I was physically abusive. I was verbally abusive. But that being said, it's not like that's the nature that I was. I'm not that guy. I'm a sweet guy. I'm a hopeless romantic. I just want a family. I'm 45 years old. And man, like I want to settle down. I want to be happy with somebody for the rest of my life. But that being said, my last relationship, well, second last relationship taught me a lot too. Taught me how I can cop out to my charges, own up to my charges, do my time in jail, get my sentence, do my probation or whatever else, do my counseling, do everything I'm supposed to, just for my ex, going on 6 years now, will let me see my kids. Man, guys, I know a lot of you guys are going through that too. That's abuse, man. It's not only abuse towards us, that's abuse towards the children. I was a great father. I am a great father. I have pictures all over my Facebook that show that I'm a great father, show that I am a family man. And all the pictures in my family pictures, kids are extremely happy. They're not fake happy. So they didn't grow up in an abusive home. But we did have our spats. This last relationship, I was broken, like I said. 6 years without my kids, served some time in jail. I even copped out to charges that I was not guilty for. Ex told the courts that I held her against her will for 4 days in a room and wouldn't let her tend to the children. That never happened. I tell you that right now, that never happened. She was sick, she had anemia, she was always weak, and like 7 kids at home, she needed the help. I would take time off work to come and help out around the house, which then led to me losing my job, which then led to me getting another job and losing that job because of the fact that I needed to be around the house a lot to help her out. Since that relationship, I've been broken. I got into this other relationship, and I swear this girl, she picked me. She searched me on Facebook. She seen that I was freaking broken, that I was all depressed and missing my family and stuff. And she came in. And the funny thing was, she came in right around COVID money time. Crazy. I didn't notice this. It was great, I went through love bombing. Didn't know what love bombing was, but we'll get into that. That's they idolize you, man. They love you. They throw you up on a pedestal. They tell everybody how great you are and stuff. They tell you how great you are and stuff. And you guys suck it up. I suck it up. You know what I mean? Like, wow, this chick is really into me. Then she started acting different. A couple of months in, she would start acting different and start disappearing for hours on end, and then can't reach her on her phone and stuff. And she's like, oh, well, I left my phone at home. Oh, somebody stole my phone. Oh, my phone's dead. But you can clearly see that she's checked her messages. I was like, okay, your phone's dead. I apologize for acting like I did. I'm sorry, I thought you were doing something else, this and that, right? Meanwhile, my gut was telling me I was right. I was freaking right. But that continued. She would start making all these comments. Oh, well, you must be cheating on me. That's why you're bringing this up. That's why you're accusing me of cheating on you. Blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, she can get a hold of me anytime she needed to. I would answer my phone, answer my text right away. She started saying, well, I'm spending time with my kids, with my daughter. And because we're spending time with each other, you can't message, you can't text. We can't have no communication. I was like, cool, whatever. It is what it is, you know. She doesn't have her kid full time. So I was like, it is what it is. Talks about how she went to the movie theater. She went with her daughter to get fingernails done and stuff like this. And I was like, oh, really? That sounds awesome. Like, can I see pictures? Like, I want to see pictures of the nails. She said, oh, well, we didn't take pictures. I was like, what? Like memories? She says, no, you don't need to take pictures of memories. Memories don't live on photo. They live right here. It's like, wow, okay. I said, what movie did you guys see? I said, I know when I go to the movie theaters with my kids, man, I take a picture of that poster on the side of the wall and, you know, and them sitting there with all their goodies and stuff. Like, what movie did you see? She fumbled. She couldn't even remember what movie she saw. I was like, oh, okay, it is what it is, right? So I go to help my ex because she needed me to help her fix her car. And then I spent some time with my girls because she allowed me to spend some time with my girls. Believe it or not, whatever, great. 2 months last year I got to spend time with my girls, but she also needed somebody to help her move because nobody else was there to help her move. So I'm a furniture mover, and what did she do? She called the best furniture mover she knows, myself. So I went and did a 13-hour move with her. Whatever, long story short is, I was spending time with my kids. My ex that said she couldn't communicate with me when she was with her daughter was blowing up my phone every 10, 15 minutes. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, like, you got pictures? So I would take pictures. I said, oh yeah, I'm building a snow fort out front. Boop. Took pictures, sent them to her. You know, I'm happy. I'm happy to send her pictures because I'm enjoying my time with my kids. Like, that's something that I cherish, man. So of course I'm gonna throw it out to her, right? So, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, well, I'm building an ice rink out back of their house. They want to go skating all the time. I said, I've been taking them skating for the last couple of days, and I'm finding all these crappy skating rinks, outdoor skating rinks. They got a huge backyard. I'm gonna frickin' make the baddest ice rink, which I did. So I took pictures of my kids smiling, laughing, helping me out and stuff. You know, I was proud to send her pictures and proud to show her, hey, like, look it, after all this time, I finally get to have my kids in my life. Man, that was the worst thing I could have done because that triggered a jealousy thing so much because of the fact that she only gets to see her kid every second weekend or whatever. And when she does have her kid, I found out later on in the relationship that she's out gallivanting while her elderly parents are at home with her daughter. They go to the lake. She's out gallivanting when her elderly parents are at the lake with her daughter. So she was jealous of this, that I got to see my kids and I was having so much fun and this and that, and I wasn't spending time with her. That was really when I started to notice that something was not right. But I was like, okay, well, maybe it's in my head. Maybe I'm hallucinating. Maybe I'm thinking this. Maybe it's that. Man, that is all part of the plan. I went through what they call gaslighting, where she would say, oh, well, remember, you know, like, I was like, oh, well, where were you today? We were supposed to go hang out. She says, no. She says, I talked to you 2 days ago and told you that I had to go and help my uncle and my auntie out, paint their house and stuff. And you said, oh, yeah, that was great. That was okay. And I'm like, but I didn't. We didn't have this conversation. She's like, but we did. I'm like, but we didn't. I know for a fact we didn't. And she's like, no, we did. Seriously, we did. And you don't remember that? Man, you must be crazy. And I was sitting there, I'm like, thinking to myself, did I say that? I don't even remember having this conversation. So now I'm doubting myself, which I know I didn't say it. So, yeah, I lost my train of thought. But, yeah, so I was starting to question my own thoughts. I was like, okay, did we have these conversations? Didn't we have these conversations? I went up to her community. We were dating about 5-6 months now, and went up to her community, and it was still COVID, wearing masks and stuff, and I'm walking around with her, and people are staring at me like I'm freaking dinner, man. And she lived up by Nose Hill Park, which is like this, nothing but wildlife and stuff, and that's her backyard. And I don't know if anybody knows what Nose Hill Park is like, but that freaking thing is huge. So because of the whole shit that was going on with my relationship and everything, I was thinking, holy cow, like this is the Hunger Games or the Purge or something. So I go up there and all these people are looking at me. I'm like, why are all these people looking at me? She's like, well, you're a new face in town. I was like, but I'm wearing a mask. She's like, oh, it's because you're hanging out with me. I was like, hanging out with you? She's like, yeah, you know, like I'm a pillar of this community and stuff. And it's because you're hanging out with me. I'm like a celebrity. It's like, what the heck? Okay, it is what it is. So that being said, she already, because I started to notice the signs and stuff, I started to notice the signs, so she knew that I was catching on to what was going on, that I was being manipulated. So she started to smear my name and then bring me up into her community. So things are going good. In the relationship, I had a motorbike, I had a nice Eagle Talon, I had another motorbike, I had a Mitsubishi Lancer, Mitsubishi Eclipse, 2500 HD pickup truck, Crown Victoria ghost car, cop car. I sold them all. Sold them all because most of the times that she would contact me is when it was time for money. So, and that's me. I'm a guy where I like to treat my ladies, man, you know, like I'm a hopeless romantic, like I said. I like to treat them. So I'd spend money on her. When technically I should have been spending money on my kids. But my ex wasn't letting me see my kids. She could use me to move furniture and stuff for 13 hours and stuff like this. Go hang out with my daughters while she'd go hang out with her friend, her guy friend for 4 hours. But all of a sudden I'm not allowed to see my kids. Why? I'm going to tell you why. I said because I told her I relapsed and I smoked a little bit of methamphetamine about 4 or 5 days prior to me coming to see my kids. She's like, oh, okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me. I was like, well, yeah, like if you would have found out by somebody else, you would have took my kids away again. She said, okay, fair enough. And then she took off to go hang out with her friend. I chilled with my girls for 4 hours. Next day, I'm supposed to go visit my girls. She says, no, you're not allowed to. You're a drug addict. You need to get your shit together and stuff. You need to go to treatment. I was like, okay, I'll go to treatment. I'll go to detox and stuff like this. She says, no, not detox or something. You have to do like 9 months of treatment. I was like, 9 months of treatment? I smoke very little methamphetamine. And you're telling me I need to do 9 months of treatment. Whatever. So I didn't. So I'm spending money on my narcissist. I don't want to call her a narcissist. I'll call her CRW. It's not a real name, but it's close enough. Then in that relationship as well, she would come over and I lost 3 places. She would come over, we would drink a little bit, smoke a little bit of dope, hang out, and she did all that stuff. I don't want to be smoking the dope. I don't want to be drinking. I've been sober other than the times that I drank with her since 2017, since my brother passed away in a car accident, drunk driving. So that being said, I don't want to be like that. So I did all that because of the fact that it felt like it was the only time that I can sit down and we can actually communicate and sit down and, like I said, communicate, interact, spend some time together, because that's what she did on a day-to-day basis. Smoke dope and drink. So I did it too. So I would have her over. I'm renting a room, trying to get my life back on track. And during COVID, like I said, one of my roommates that I had said, you can't have any people over here, like I'm pro-COVID, I'm just looking out for the best nature of myself and the other roommate we have. I said, okay, fair enough. But then I noticed he started bringing people over, but I wasn't allowed to. But I was paying $500 for my room and money for internet and stuff. So I was like, screw this. Like, if you get to do it, I get to do it. So I brought her over one night, snuck her in my window, like I did back when I was a kid, I bet you've done it too. But I snuck her in my window. So we were drinking and stuff, and then she started getting loud. I'm like, okay, like seriously, you're gonna get me in trouble, man. You're gonna have to leave if you're gonna be like this. So she calmed down and stuff. So in the morning time, I was trying to get her outside, but my roommate was already awake. Smelled like breakfast and stuff, and I said, oh, well, he's cooking breakfast. I said, well, let's go out for breakfast. So I got a few bucks left, take you out to Denny's or something. She's like, no. She says, I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to ask him if he cooked us anything. I was like, no, don't do that. Like, what are you doing? Don't. She says, no, I'm going to. I was like, don't. I said, I'm not allowed to have anybody here. So long story short is she went upstairs and she did. And then she started screaming and yelling at my roommate. And I was just like, what the heck? And I looked at him. I'm like, Joe, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I apologize. So I told her she had to leave. That being said, she's outside for an hour. It's like minus 20 outside. She's outside my place, well, Joe's place that he was renting me a room to, yelling and screaming for an hour, trying to fight with me. Yelling and screaming. So now the neighbors are hearing all this for an hour. Finally, she left. My roommate told me I had to leave. Another 2 places, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but same thing. She started doing the yelling and screaming and picking fights with me and stuff like that. And I was like, why is she picking fights with me? I didn't understand why she was picking fights with me. She would pick fights with me, and I would react. I would act out of character. I reacted. Oh my God, it's so beautiful out here. Look at this, guys. I have not been able to come outside like this in so long, and I'm loving this. I was so in my head after this relationship. But yeah, so I lost 2 other places. So I had nowhere else to go. That's why I had to go up into her community. And like I said, when I got up into her community and her parents let me stay at the place that she was staying because she lost her condo and lost her job and everything. So she was living off of her elderly parents. She smeared my name to all the neighbors. She already stated that I was abusive and that I was this and that I was that because the way they stared at me. And it was just, I didn't understand it at the time, but I do now because I look back and I'm just like, wow, like this really happened. But I stayed up there and then I got to the point where I offered to pay rent and her parents were like, no, just make sure that CRW has what she needs and we'll be good. You know, do some chores around the house, help with the yard work, which I did. I was doing all the yard work, tending to the plants, the flowers, the trees, the grass. Every morning I would go out and do it, water them and everything. That being said, my time wore out there. I didn't have no more money to spend on CRW. Her parents didn't want me there because she must have said I was abusive, but I'm telling you right now, I was not abusive. I was being subject to reactive abuse, and she was abusing me, and I did not even know she was abusing me. The reactive abuse is where who knows you better than yourself, but your partner. You tell them everything. I told her all my fears, all my insecurities. She knew I was broken from the start. So she would use all that to push my buttons. And I fell for it. So I wasn't allowed to stay there. But she kept wanting me to come over and visit and stuff like this, but I wasn't allowed to stay there. So that being said, she had me sneaking in her window. So I did this, you know, felt like I was in school again, you know what I mean? It felt awesome, you know. She's 38 years old, I'm 45, and I felt like I was a schoolboy again. So, yeah, sneaking in her window and stuff. Supposed to go to work the next day, look outside the window, and whoa, shit, pardon my language, it snowed, fresh snow. Didn't pay no attention to it. So, of course, I go out the window. I go to work, my truck parked around the corner, get in the truck, go to work. Don't hear from her for another couple of days. I was like, okay. Try to text her, try to call her. Nothing. I'm out hanging out with my friends and stuff, and it was weird because it's like she knew I was hanging out with other people. Because the second I was hanging out with other people, my phone was blowing up. What are you doing? Like, do you want to hang out? I'm like, no, I'm hanging out with my friends. Like, I've been trying to get a hold of you for a couple of days. You were obviously too busy or whatever, you know what I mean? So I just started hanging out with my friends. So she would get all mad. Fine, be like that, blah, 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 you know. Frickin', I'm trying to spend time with you, and you say that I don't spend time with you, and I'm always not around, and, you know, but now you don't want to spend time with me. I was just like, whatever, fine, I'll come and hang out with you. So I dropped my buddies. I said, okay, I gotta go, guys. You know what I mean? I gotta go hang out with the lady friend. So I went up there. So I get up there and she's like, do you have any smokes? Do you have any drugs? I was like, no. She says, what, you spent it all on your friends? I was just like, whoa, what the heck's going on here, man? Like, this isn't cool, you know? But long story short is, I was getting shit. So I'm apologizing. Meanwhile, I shouldn't have been apologizing. I knew that I wasn't doing anything wrong. So, that being said, another couple of days goes by, like I said, and there was no communication and stuff. All of a sudden, she wants me to come over again. So I go over again, yet again through the window, and the next day, wake up, go to work, same thing. Fresh snow on the ground. Good afternoon, guys. Beautiful out, isn't it?
Oh, it's nice.
But you as well. So, like I said, the next morning, got to go to work, and yet again, look outside the window, and what is there? There's snow on the ground. At this point, I'm starting to think something's up. Like, what the heck's going on? You know what I mean? What's going on with this stuff? So, leave, go to work. Another time, you know, not another time, but freaking days go by again. No communication, not receiving any text messages back, not receiving any messages on Facebook, but she's looking at the Facebook messages. That being said, it's an endless cycle. I did not know I was in an endless cycle. Guys, I'm sure that a lot of this has happened to you. But yeah, so we got physical a couple of times. Went to the hotel room and stuff, and I'm like, I don't understand how you got all this money, but you don't work. You know, she would use her parents' credit card to go buy smokes because they would allow her to. She'd take out $80, $100, $200 extra on top of that every time she went to the store when she got them to allow her to go get smokes or drinks or whatever. So she was taking her parents' money, her elderly parents' money. Yeah. And like I said, she would get hotel rooms at like the Grey Eagle Casino. Where is she getting this money from? She does not work. She's not taking it off her parents' credit card. But yeah, so whenever I go to the casino, go to the freaking hotel, go spend some money inside the casino and stuff. Still, yet again, I don't understand how she had it or whatever, but she did. So I was like, right on, reciprocity, right? She's given me stuff because I've spent money on her. So we get up into the hotel room. Not even minutes after we get up there, she starts picking fights with me again. I'm like, you know what? I'm not engaging in this anymore. I am not. It's not happening. She started pushing the buttons, my fear buttons. Oh, that's why, you know, this is probably why you're not allowed to see your kids and why your ex doesn't want to be with you and stuff and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, why are you throwing this at me? Like, what are you talking about? She says, oh yeah, you got charged for domestic on your ex and you pled guilty and did some time and what, are you going to hit me now too and stuff? And I was just like, whoa, what the heck's going on? You know, and yeah, I was just, what the heck? So she come at me and I grabbed her by the arms and pushed her back. I'm like, what the hell? And then she ran out of the room yelling and screaming, help, 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 help. I'm like, what the heck? There was housekeeping outside. So I left. Is what it is. We got into 2 domestic disputes, one in her basement and one in another hotel. And police were involved. But the police saw that we were both marked up and stuff and didn't do anything because she's like, oh yeah, nothing happened. And I said, yeah, nothing happened, because she kept saying like, I'll stick up for you. You stick up for me, but nothing happened. So we said nothing happened. And yeah, they just walked away. Afternoon, guys.
One huge screen. Okay. And
But yeah, so they knew that we had freaking physical altercation, and because we said nothing happened, they said, okay, well, if we have to come back, somebody's going to jail. I was like, okay, so they left. Another time was, like I said, down in her basement. We got into it. I left, I ran up the freaking hill to Nose Hill Park area, And then I'm like, why am I running? Like, she attacked me. I didn't attack her, she attacked me. So I went back down to the house and I met up with the police and went into her parents' house and stuff. And then she ended up coming back because I told them, like, yeah, okay, we got into an altercation, man. She attacked me. They're like, did you put your hands on her? I was like, well, yeah, but no. I did, but not like extreme. Holding her, restraining her is what I did. That is the truth. And she came back and started freaking acting like an idiot in front of the cops. So they ended up taking her to jail. Or not to jail. They took her downtown and took her to a shelter or whatever, drunk shelter. So I left, man. I could not handle this shit no more. I left. Was gone for 5 months. And then, of course, me being stupid, I wanted to go back and see how she was doing. Went back to see how she was doing. She says, what, you don't want to talk? I said, no, I just wanted some closure. I wanted to know that you're doing okay. You can see I'm doing okay. But I just need some closure. So whatever, we talked. And then she invited herself down to where I was staying. Like, at this point, she didn't know where I was, didn't know the community I was in, didn't know nothing. I went cold turkey, Grey Rock, no contact for 5 months. She came down. I was staying in a motorhome that I acquired because the place I was staying at freaking was under renovations. I was doing the renovations, but I was staying in the motorhome. So she come over there, hanging out and stuff, and she, at this point, told me she was with some 51-year-old man and that things were going good and stuff and this and that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm happy for you. Me being me, still having feelings, or so I thought, I was cuddling with her. I know I shouldn't have because I'm in the wrong. She already told me that she was with somebody. So I was cuddling with her and stuff. And then she just started doing the crazy making again. All this stupid stuff, all this stupid talk. Like, she would, try to kiss me. I would not. She would initiate sexual advances. And I'm like, nope, not about it, not about it. So she started talking crazy making and stuff. And I said, okay, well, it's time for you to go. You know what I mean? Said the buses are running. It's probably 5 o'clock in the morning now. I said, you can go, you know? So she left and she started yelling and screaming yet again outside in the community, yelling and screaming, causing attention. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not engaging in this, man. You're crazy. Get lost. And she left. And ever since then, I lost the motorhome. Cops came and took it, said it was condemned, said I wasn't allowed to live in it, took all my property that was in it, everything that was in it. I was not able to get it back. I had a motorbike. I had a GSXR 750 frame with an 1100 engine. I was loving it, man, because I was going to build this group like Bikers Against Domestic Violence, or Bikers Against Domestic Abuse is what I was going to do. And because I see Bikers Against Child Abuse, Bikers Against Bullying, those guys are bringing something major to the freaking table. They are doing something major for a lot of people in this world. They're great people, man. They are angels. They are. I wish that I can contact them and explain to them that my kids are being held from me, because that's a form of child abuse too. It's not just abuse towards me, that's child abuse. You can look back at all my pictures and stuff on social media. My girls love me. I was a great dad. I was wearing my uniform every day in pictures with them because I would make sure I was home at a decent hour to take my kids out before they went to bed. I even took a whole summer off of moving furniture, which anybody knows who move furniture? That's the busiest time of the year. I took a whole summer off so I could take my daughters to the water park on every hot day. We would walk to the water park. I'd have breakfast, and then I'd make them snacks and make them a lunch and everything. And we'd have showers and stuff at the water park before we went home. Because when we got home, because we already had supper, we had lunch, we had snacks, we were there all day. It was time for bed. So I wanted to build something. So I had this motorbike. I was like, okay, now I have to do all this stuff. I got to try and get my license back because it said that I owe so much child support. She's claiming 6 years out of the 13 that we were together. But that being said, only the years that my daughters were born up until the last bit of our relationship. So that's the years that she was claiming in that aspect. And like, I was helping raise 7 children, 4 boys that weren't mine and my 3 daughters. And the past 6 years that my kids have been held against me. The courts don't say I'm not allowed to be around my kids. Child and Family Services don't say I'm not allowed to be around my kids. She does. My daughter, on Easter, my 11-year-old, she was going to run across the street in my community because they used to live in that community. And I thought it was just another little kid, but there was a car coming. I'm like, whoa, 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 stop, stop, stop. And then I noticed it was my 11-year-old daughter. And she's like, Daddy, Daddy. She jumped up and gave me the biggest hug, wrapped her legs around my freaking waist. They gave me the biggest hug and everything, and she was so excited. It was just before Easter. It was 2 days before Easter Sunday, I think. And that was last year, or Easter Monday, or whatever it was. But 3 weeks later, I see her at the skate park, and she wanted a BMX. So I put together this sick BMX for her. And I seen her at the skate park, so I went over there. I got her a drink and a bag of chips to share with her friend, and was going to give her the BMX. She's like, Mom says I can't talk to you. And she looked like she was scared of me. And her 15-year-old friend that she was hanging out with is like, you know, she's scared of you. Like, you traumatized her and her family and this and that. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? 3 weeks ago, man, she was so in love with me. She was so happy to see me. That being said, I wanted to build this group and raise awareness for guys that are going through domestic abuse. I don't say domestic violence because domestic abuse covers the whole, everything on the spectrum. Verbal, psychological, which is mental, physical, you know, like, and it's not just to one person. You got men, women, and who matter the most? The freaking children that have to endure this shit and not say anything because they don't want daddy to go to jail. They don't want their family to be broke up. I came from a broken home. I swore on my life my kids would never come from a broken home. I swore it would never happen. But it's happening. So I wanted to build something. That motorbike, I was out fixing it. Picked it up for $400, steal of a deal. I was fixing it, had it almost running top notch. A neighbor called the police on me because I was starting it up and shutting it down because I couldn't dial in the last carburetor. I had 4 carbs. Couldn't dial in the last carb properly. It was running too rich, running too lean. And they came because of a noise complaint. It was Friday, 6 p.m. on a Friday. They asked me what I was doing. I told them. They said the VIN number was altered. They couldn't find the VIN number in the frickin' system. They asked me my name. I'm like, okay, like, what am I doing? Am I arrested? Am I detained? They're like, no. I said, okay, well, I don't have to give you my name then. Really, I don't. I know my rights. I told you what I was doing, fixing my bike. So they kept pushing and pushing and pushing. The bike has no ignition. I'm like, I know it's on order. It's a parts bike, I told you. So finally, I gave in. I'm like, okay, this is my name. I probably got like 4 or 5 warrants. Got a couple of warrants. So they ran my name. They're like, oh yeah, you do. Oh, but don't worry. They're all endorsed. I was like, right on. Endorsed means that the judge already signed off on them and they can let me go with a piece of paper, promise to appear to court. I was like, right on. The cop's like, actually, no. One of them's non-endorsed. I was like, okay, so I'm under arrest? He's like, yeah. But it's just for no fingerprints. I was like, okay. So I sat there in the back of the police SUV for an hour, almost an hour and a half, waiting for these police to have a tow truck come and tow my bike. And I'm like, why are you towing my bike? They said, because it's parked on private property. I'm like, but it's not parked on private property. I said, I'm working here. I'm renovating here. You guys just took my motorhome that I was living in because I'm doing the renovations here. I'm the jack of all trades here. Nope, it's private property. I'm like, but I work here and I used to reside here. So long story short is I waited for an hour and a half. They showed up, the tow truck, and it wasn't the regular tow truck that the city cops use here. They use citywide. This was a no-name, small-time company. Same as the no-name small-time company that picked up the motorhome. This is all happening after the encounter with her and knowing where I was residing and what community I was in. All of a sudden I have the landlady that I'm working for, she's Asian descent. She's Mandarin from back China, Japan, or whatever, Tokyo, wherever it was, Hong Kong, yeah, Hong Kong. So all of a sudden she started getting cold shoulder towards me. She was not giving me any more material. She all of a sudden then told me that I had to vacate the premises and stuff, that I was not working for her no more. I was like, wow. I was doing moves with her, a Chinese community. I was helping move the senior citizens around from home to home. And then I was taking a lot of trips out, well, not a lot of trips, but a few trips out to Vancouver and Richmond and stuff, and making some good money. All of a sudden, that all stopped. So, yeah, I lost my truck. I went to go fill it up because I'm living in my truck now, because the motorhome's gone and stuff like this. I go to the gas station to get $40 worth of gas in my truck. And I know I'm not supposed to be driving because I was suspended, but it was cold as heck outside. It's minus 35 or whatever. So I drove a block and a half to go put gas in my truck. As I'm leaving the parking lot from putting gas in my truck, a block and a half away from where I was parked, I had 4 units on me, 4 police units on me. In the community that I'm in, there's never 4 units at one time in that community. Seemed that odd. Long story short is, they said, well, if you could prove it's your truck, we're just going to give you your tickets and you can take the truck back to where you're residing. But you got to prove it's your truck. I said, okay, well, my bill of sale is at my cousin's house. And that's where I was residing. All my stuff, like my bags and stuff, were inside her house. So, and they're like, well, we're not going to drive all the way there. I was like, okay, well, I'll get a hold of my ex that was there when I traded P71 Crown Victoria retired cop car off for this truck. Picked it up in High River. So I tried to call her. No answer. Lo and behold, they call a no-name tow truck company. It shows up. Tow my truck. They wouldn't allow me to take my tent out of it. They wouldn't allow me to take any of my stuff out of it. Well, you got a bill of sale, you can go to the frickin' yard and go pick it up. I was like, okay. Never got my truck back because it was held automatically 60 days because at this point I already had it driving while suspended. So that's an automatic 30-day hold. So the second time was 60 days. So, lost my truck, lost my motorhome, lost my bike. On the verge of losing my place. So I convinced the landlady to let me finish the renovations. I almost finished the renovations. I'm able to have all my stuff in the house and I have it all set up because I'm going to be living there and stuff. Started picking up all old yard equipment because I was setting up bike and trailer combos, and 3 of them. I was going to make them for the community kids to make money on the weekends and stuff. Their own money with all this yard equipment, lawnmowers, weed whackers, such. So I get everything working, have it all set up and stuff and up against the house. I come home one morning, the house is on fire. Somebody came and lit it all on fire. Lit it on fire. I even asked the firemen, like, what started the fire? They're like, well, was there any gas or anything that could have ignited here and there? And I was like, well, yeah, they had gas in it, but no heat around from the sun and stuff's not going to ignite it. They said, no, it started here. So the arson investigators were there and stuff, and never heard anything back from them. But yeah, somebody started it on fire. I posted pictures of them on Facebook stating, look, nothing's going to stop me from building my dream. I'm going to help out the teenage kids in the community here. I'm going to do something right. 5 days later, bang, stuff gets set on fire. Sets the whole side of the house on fire. So now I'm not allowed to stay there because the firemen had to rip apart the roof and the wall because of the hot spots in the house. So I had nowhere to stay. I have still yet to be able to get any of my stuff. It was a 3-bedroom townhouse or 4-plex. I was not able to get any of my stuff. The landlady has now allegedly since deceased, and the city owns it, and I'm not allowed to get any of my stuff. This all happened ever since this woman knew where I lived. I've been going through heck. I did not know what gang stalking was or community harassment. It's a real thing. People thought that I was crazy. I'm seeing a therapist, and she did not know what it was. I told her to Google it. My last session here a couple of days ago, I asked her if she had a chance to look it up, and she says yes, and oh my God. I said, I know, right? So, I don't know if they were her little groupies, her flying monkeys or whatever, but I've been followed everywhere I go for 22 months. 22 months. I was so in my head. I thought I loved this chick. I couldn't get her out of my mind. This is all abuse, guys, and a lot of us are going through this abuse, and nobody's talking about it, man. This is just me trying to do another video. Out in nature, man, it feels so good to be out in public, out in nature, and not being scared. A year ago, I wouldn't have been out here. I would have been terrified to be out here. But I'm loving it. It's so gorgeous outside. I asked my buddy if I could borrow his bike. Never got back to me. So I'm out here walking. Tomorrow, I'm starting working out again. I'm going to start jogging every morning. When I was getting in my head, I would go out fishing. I got my fishing rod in my backpack. Retractable fishing rod. I wanted to do some down here, but got to be by the law. I don't have my license yet, so I can't. I'm in a provincial park, need a license. So that being said, I hope some of you guys resonate with some of the stuff that I said. I'm going to get more into depth of red flags to look for, signs to look out for. You might get 1 or 2 signs, that's not a guarantee. But when you get 3, 4, 5 signs, you're going to realize you're in a toxic relationship and you got to run. I was there for a year. I always knew something was up. But that being said, like I said, I hope some of this stuff resonated with you guys. And I hope some of you guys reach out to me, man. Talk to me. Comment. Tell me some of your experiences you went through. Let's do this together, guys. Let's share our experiences and share how we healed, what we did for healing. Anything different that happened on your end, on my end, let me know. Let us know. We need to start speaking about it, guys. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a man. There are good guys out there getting murdered. There are good guys out there getting their asses kicked by other people because they're being called to be abusers when they're not. Well, they are, but they're not. It's not like that's what they want to be. Losing people to suicide. Losing people to jail. I know I got assaulted. I called the police. They got there as the person's throwing shit outside at me. I had all the marks. She had none. I still got arrested. I said, on what pretense? On what grounds? They're like, well, defensive wounds. I'm like, defensive wounds. I'm 200 pounds almost. She's 100 pounds. There's not a mark on her. She must be a fucking MMA star, part of my language. But, yeah, if any of this resonated with you guys, please let me know. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying this again. Next time, I'm going to talk more about the different personalities to look out for. Borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, if they got the disorder or if they just got the traits. Going to show you how you can realize your narcissistic traits, because everybody has narcissistic traits. So until next time, man, I hope this helped you guys. It helps me being out in nature, trying this again. Sorry I went into a little bit of depth into the relationship, but I just wanted to give you a heads up of some of the stuff I went through. Like, I went through a lot more. But I just didn't want to make this a huge long ass video. It's already 44 minutes and 35 seconds. But I hope some of it resonated with you guys. And if it did, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks guys for listening, and hey, stay strong. You're a strong individual. That's why you're being picked. They don't pick the weak ones. They pick the strong ones because they want to see how long it's going to take you before you realize what's going on. It's a challenge for them. So you know what? Get out of your head. You were abused, man. You are going through the after effects. You are going through post freaking leaving. Like, you are gonna hurt. Just know that you didn't love them. They didn't love you. You were played the whole time from start to finish. She's out there enjoying her new supply that she already had lined up because you started to notice the signs. You started to bore her. You didn't treat her as great as she wanted. Just know that she's doing this to somebody else. It's not your problem anymore. So just realize it's not your problem anymore. Do some healing, man. Figure your stuff out. We can all do this. I've been doing it. And if we all heal, we can build this brotherhood together, guys. I need people to help me out to build this brotherhood. I can't do it alone. So I need more of you guys to speak up. So thanks for listening. Take care. And I'll get back to you with more videos of like the how-tos and what to look for and all that. So stay strong. Know that you are a strong individual. Speak to somebody. Get somebody to listen to you, man. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.